Do you have an 8 to 5 job and you struggle to save money every month? In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you practical ways I use to save 60% of my income and how you can do same. What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wale, you're watching The Work Life Man. Most Nigerians struggle to save 30% of their income, and rightly so. The economy is not in the best shape, the inflation is in double digits, and food prices are rising by the day. So I understand if you cannot do up to 60% of your income. Nonetheless, in this video, I'm going to be sharing my biggest expenses and how I'm able to cut back on some of them. Before we start, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and also drop a like if you find this video useful. All right, so let's just dive into it. One of the things I've discovered about saving is that it's easier for a high income earner to save more money than a low income earner, even if they have the same saving appetite. For example, if you earn #1 million a month in Nigeria, it should be fairly easy for you to save 50 to 60% of your income as against somebody that earns 100,000 naira a month. Other major factors that determine how much you save is if you're single, you have no kids, or you have a financially stable family background. Then you're most likely going to be able to save a high percentage of your income. Now, this doesn't mean that people with a high income save more money or people that are single save more money. Saving boils down to your lifestyle, your spending habits, and your desire to impress people. Trust me, if you have a low desire to impress people, you will save a ton of money. The goal for everyone, whether high income or low income, is to save enough money so that you can invest in income generating assets such as stocks, bonds, real estate, or even your private business. Now, when it comes to expenses, there are typically three main drivers. You have your rent, your transportation cost, and then your feeding cost. In Nigeria where I live, it is almost impossible to avoid paying any of these three, except of course, you live with your parents, which will mean that you're not paying rent, and also you're most certainly not paying for food. So it should be easier for you to save 60% of your income. But today's video are for those who pay their bills themselves, and I salute you. Let's take rent. One rule of thumb, and certainly a principle that I try to adhere to, is that your rent should not be more than 2 months your salary if you are married, and 1 month your salary if you are single. And there are certain tactics you can use to achieve this. First is you can choose to live in a low rent paying neighborhood. In Lagos where I live, there are a couple of neighborhoods on the mainland where you can get rent within your monthly pay. The drawback to this is that the cheaper the neighborhood, the farther it is from where you work, which will in turn shoot up your transportation cost. Another tactic is to live in a closer neighborhood to work, but in a shared apartment. This puts you in a situation where all the costs associated with living in that apartment is shared. I remember living in Lagos with 3 of my friends in a 3-bedroom apartment when I got my first job in Lagos. With that, I was able to bring down my rent to within 1 month my salary and end up saving a lot more money. Now that I live alone, I still adhere to this rule. The next is transportation cost. This is where it really becomes tight to cut back on spending because, quite frankly, most of the variables are out of your control. Like, you don't determine how much public transportation is priced, or you don't even determine if there's going to be traffic or not. And in a city like Lagos, when it rains, transportation fares doubles and sometimes triples. However, there are a couple of things that you can do. Most corporate organizations in Lagos, Nigeria, have something called a staff bus, which is a bus pulling facility that picks people up from neighborhoods closer to their homes and then brings them to work. Where I work, we do have this facility, and a lot of people use it to cut back on driving to work and also save what ordinarily should be spent as transportation costs. Another method which is similar to bus pulling is carpooling with car owners within your neighborhood. I usually recommend this for people that don't have their personal car. However, you have to be considerate in splitting the cost. It is not a free service. I repeat, it is not a free service. Find out how much he or she is spending on fuel every week and contribute a decent percentage to that amount. The rest of what you should be spending on transportation costs can then go into your savings. The last on the big 3 is feeding costs. Here, I really do not have much to say other than reduce eating out to the barest minimum. Food prices are increasing by the day in Lagos, and it's really very difficult to cut back on spending on food. So all I'll say is try to reduce your feeding or your eating out to the barest minimum as low as reasonably practicable. Now, having adhering to all of these rules, you'll begin to see that you have a lot more money left over at the end of the month than you used to. It is then you can now apply some of these tactics on how I save 60% of my income. The first thing I do in order to save 60% of my income is to pay myself first. I achieve this by taking 15% of my monthly income from source. You can achieve this by asking your employer to take 15% of your income from source, or you can issue a standing order on your account to move 15% of your income into a separate account. Now, this is different from your pension or your 401k. For example, in the US, this is different from your employer's contribution. This is actually your net pay, and you're taking 15% from your net pay and moving it into a separate account. This saving is what I use for long-term investments to buy blue chip stocks and bonds. The next category of saving that I do is to take 20% of my net income and do something called esusu or ajo. This is an informal contribution among colleagues at work where we all contribute a certain amount of money every month and we all take turns to take the pot. Think of it as an interest-free savings account. So like I said, I do this with my colleagues at work for just 10 months. So I usually do this from January to October. And the reason why I do this for 10 months is because the last 2 months of the year are usually the big spending months. And it is important to have enough to spend in those periods. You trust me, you don't want to be broke during Christmas. What I use this saving category for is to invest in something that is capital intensive. For example, if you want to buy a real estate property, if you want to buy a car to start a business, if you want to invest in, say, you're traveling out, you want to migrate to Canada, and then you want to build your savings, this saving mechanism will help you achieve your short-term financial goals. The last saving category is completely discretionary, because for most people, after doing category 1, which is 15%, and then category 2, which is 20%, that's 35%, which is already a fantastic percentage of your income. However, if you're willing to take it a notch higher, then you can set up something called a discretionary saving account. This savings category is usually between 5 to 25%. And this is what I use to improve my chances of increasing my income. Remember, all of this is coming from your monthly income, your 8 to 5 job. So things like personal development, career development, courses, trainings, buying books, traveling, etc. So that's why I call it discretionary, because it really depends on your drive as an individual. However, for me, it is most important because it ties back to your income. So the higher you can do, the higher percentage you can do, the better. Remember, in the beginning of this video, I said it is easier for a high income earner to save more money than a low income earner, even if you have the same saving appetite. So in order to increase your earning capacity, it is important that you take the discretionary saving seriously. Now, some of you might wonder, how do I pay my rent? Because in all of these savings, I do not use any of it to pay my rent. Recall the rule of thumb that says your rent should not be more than 2 months your salary if you're married, and then 1 month your salary if you're single. For me, my rent is not more than 1 month my salary. The last 2 months of the year for me are my savings holiday. I do not save my 20% esusu and possibly my discretionary savings because I need more money. And also, November, December in Nigeria are usually when most corporate organizations in Nigeria pay something called 13th month. Some even pay something called leave allowance. Some even pay their bonuses at the end of the year. So putting all that together, I'm able to pay my rent easily. Obviously, when I get married, things will change, and I hope to be able to do a follow-up video of how things have changed in the future. So question, approximately how much are you able to save on a monthly basis? And do you think these tactics that I've shared will work for you? Let me know in the comment section below. If you've learned anything in this video or you found this useful, make sure to hit the like button so that YouTube can recommend this video to other viewers as well. You can also support this channel by sharing this video to other people that you think might find it useful. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.